As always, stablecoins are crushing it. The market value of stablecoins has gone up by $242 billion in the last week, bringing it to about $262.5 billion. The stablecoin markets are always getting a lot of attention because of the huge push. In fact, the big banks are scared of it. We already talked about this today. And if we think about how scared the banks are, they'll turn around. They're going to start buying safe coins. They'll look at this and say, we need a stablecoin. This is what we need to do. Due to the huge amount of growth in the steady coin market and crypto, we need to do that. It looks like all of these big players like Tether, Circle, and even Ripple are doing really well. We have to get a piece of this because we will be pushed out if we don't. They know this is a risk. Also, they know they're working on a time bomb because this is only going to go off bigger and bigger. Coins that are stable will only get bigger. The big banks will be watching this with bated breath if they don't join in. Okay, let's quickly look at what happened not long ago when we think about this. According to Paul Atkins, the new chair of the SEC, we can now move to an instantaneous, almost settlement payment instead of delivery for stocks. This is because of on-chain stablecoins. This is really cool. Look at this, for safety, thanks to stablecoins on the chain. Also, I believe that will help with new ideas and making our markets the best in the world. What about the fact that the SEC says this? Just think about how crazy that is. In the past, 5 years ago, the SEC was after Ripple. When we look back 4 years, the SEC was after. As you may remember, almost every crypto exchange is going after a lot of crypto projects, like Library, which is a crypto project if you were there at the time. It's crazy to think about how hostile the SEC was compared to hearing this from the acting head of the SEC. But also, take a moment to think about this sentence. For those of you who have been watching the show for a while and have been learning about Ripple, this is a clear sign of Ripple. When we go to Ripple's website and click on Rousd, the first thing we see is real-time payments and easy on and off ramps for cash to stablecoin. If we keep scrolling down, we might see that remittances and money transfers make it possible for cross-border payment to happen quickly and easily, with stablecoin, fiat, and crypto assets being added and removed with ease. Thanks to on-chain stablecoins, we can now move from delivering stocks to making payments right away, almost like settlement. Ripple has worked on this for many years. We are actually building the internet of value, which will let the world move value the way information moves today. If we scroll all the way down to the About Us part, we can see this. The goal of Ripple is exactly this, and they've been working on it since at least 2012 or 2013. Now that the SEC is behind this, stablecoins are becoming more popular, and all the big banks are on board with this, right? Because once more, I said they are scared, they're scared. Even more so when the head of the SEC, Paul Atkins, tells them how big this is going to be, they don't want to miss it. Let's go over here now. Large US financial services company Justin Schwab says that the Clarity Act will boost investor confidence in this area once it is passed. The Clarity Act will change the way markets work and manage trillions of dollars in assets. The Clarity Act will change the way markets work and manage trillions of dollars in assets. Already the Genius Act was passed. This makes it possible for stablecoins to grow in a big way. I think that by the end of this year, stablecoins will be worth at least $300 billion. They are only going to get bigger. And then the Clarity Act will be added. Absolutely, trillions of dollars will pour into this space and it will explode in a much bigger way. That's true for both the short and long run. But look at this. Yes, Marley, I agree that this is a very important moment for the crypto business. That's a given. The first Bitcoin exchange traded funds were allowed by the SEC in 2024. This is the end result of a long process. Of course, Bitcoin ETFs, E3 ETFs, and other Bitcoin ETFs are now being made. At that point, I think Congress understood they needed to regulate the crypto space to give investors more peace of mind that there was a cop on the beat. In that case, I do believe that the stablecoins bill is going through that. The House then passed the second bill, the Clarity Act, which would set up rules for crypto in a wider sense than just stablecoins. That now needs to be sent to the Senate, which plans to work on it this fall. Again, that would make it clear who is in charge. It would put a lot of duty on the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC, and the SEC would also have some duties. I think of these things again, and that bill passes. I also think that will help investors feel better about this area. Also, I mean, this is exactly what we should be thinking about as crypto buyers, right? The Market Structure Bill, also known as the Clarity Act, because it will make things clear for crypto buyers, right? The Market Structure Bill, also known as the Clarity Act, because it will make things clear for crypto in the US, which is what almost all major players want. Also, when we think about this, we go to all of these big banks. As an example, on July 21st, which is the same day that all of these events happened, Paul Atkins talked about how safe coins would make this possible. We are now living in that world. The CEO of Western Union says that the bank is thinking about putting stable coins in its digital wallets for users all over the world. They say that stable coins are a chance, not a threat. Pay close attention. What will the rollout look like for Western Union in this case? Well, we're already coming up with new ways to move money and settle down in a number of places around the world. We are improving our payment processes in both South America and Africa so that money can move faster and be changed into local currency more easily. We're doing this with the help of some of the infrastructure companies you've talked about on the show. It's also possible for us to work with other people who want on and off ramps in different parts of the world, and how we could let Western Union funds come in and go out so that people could buy and sell safe coins. Lastly, we're looking into how we can work with many of the companies you've talked to over the last couple of weeks to offer stablecoin goods in our digital wallets to customers all over the world. What is the balance between this move into that space and the more digital wallets to customers all over the world? What is the balance between this move into that space and the more digital approach that I know you and your team at Western Union have been working on for a while? This isn't just about crypto. How well that fits in with what we see in the store's main area of business. The digital business makes us about $1 billion a year, and it's growing much faster than our standard retail business. We don't just think of our store as cash either. So retail is a good deal because you can get help in person. People will use bank goods and cards to fund their accounts. I mean, Western Union is joining in, so there must be a lot of big banks here, right? Banks all over the country are beginning to do this. There are a lot of them, right? In fact, Deutsche Bank just said on June 7th that they are thinking about releasing their own crypto stablecoin. On top of that, Citigroup is thinking about making its own stablecoin to make digital payments easier. For JPMD, which isn't really a stablecoin but more of a deposit ticket, JP Morgan has already filed for a trademark. You should know that they want to test this payment token JPMD on Base. Everything is based on virtual and digital currency, digital tokens and payment tokens, decentralized application tokens, and then blockchain-enabled currency. This is what's so crazy about it all. This is all that a stablecoin is made of. In general, I know that's a deposit ticket. There will be a stablecoin for each of these big banks. It will work like a deposit ticket. This is a worry for everyone when it comes to projects like XRP. But take a look at this, okay? No matter what one of these banks does, whether it's a stablecoin or a deposit ticket, it's all behind walls. It's getting stuck in their system. That's why you need something to connect all of these stablecoins and payment tokens. This is where XRP comes into the picture. Then there's this. JP Morgan looks into crypto-backed loans. This happened not long ago. Once more, institutional acceptance is really picking up speed. This will only get worse from here on out. Institutions are starting to feel FOMO about crypto because they've missed out for so long. When we think about what's going on, we see that officials are talking about it. There is a giant market for stablecoins and a huge market for tokenization. They'd like to support this. They're not making any money at all right now. Also, don't forget that the CEO of Bank of America said in February that stablecoins will happen, which could mean that the bank will start its own token that is tied to USD deposit accounts if the rules allow it. Also, in January, the CEO of Bank of America said that the banking industry is ready to use crypto payments if the government says it's okay. The officials have been pretty much given the all clear. They're being honest about this. The Federal Reserve, the FDIC, and even the OCC have already given us the go-ahead. It's crazy that all of this is going on, right? As I already said, it looks like every bank is out there doing its thing, from Wells Fargo to Deutsche Bank to Citi to JP Morgan, and even Western Union. A lot of big banks that were not involved in the stablecoin boom have now joined in. Every single bank is now afraid to put money in, each and every bank. We also pay close attention to Ripple when it comes to Bank of America. This is because, as we already said, Ripple said that US banks will want to use XRP cryptocurrency after they win some of their fight against the SEC. That was in the year 2023. The case is pretty much over. It's pretty much over now. And Bank of America and Ripple have been on the subject for a while now. Bank of America and Ripple have worked together for a very long time, which we already know. We also know that Bank of America told us they would want to use XRP after the case was over. Because once more, rules and lawsuits are what are stopping all of these big banks.